Is The Force Awakens too similar to A New Hope? The biggest complaint that I hear from folks who didn't really seem to like The Force Awakens is that it's too similar to Star Wars A New Hope. Are some of the gripes valid? Yeah, I suppose so. It all depends on the viewer, of course. Sure, some of the events in the movie are very similar to A New Hope. Even some of the plot points and characters follow the formula. But does that stop me from enjoying it? No. And it's not that I'm blind to the similarities. I definitely see them, but I don't see them as a negative. Could you consider The Force Awakens a soft reboot? Yeah, I would say that. That's probably what it needed to be. Bring back what we all love about the franchise, make it exciting, keep it fun. Remind us all what made Star Wars so memorable to us. That's what I was hoping for when I first saw the movie, and that's what I got. Like always, I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm just gonna give my opinions on a few of the gripes that I've seen floating around the internet. BB-8 and R2-D2 both have secret and classified missions, both droids both holding something important for the survival of the good guys. BB-8 has the map to Luke Skywalker, and R2-D2 is holding the plans to the Death Star. While the missions are technically different, a lot of people see this similarity as a huge negative. As J.J. Abrams said in an interview, quote, "I knew that whatever we did, there would be a group of people, and I was just hoping and praying that it would be smaller than not, that would take issue with any number of things," close quote. He's right, of course. No matter what you make, there's always a chunk of the population that will brush it off and look for something to complain about. I get it. But with the BB-8 and R2-D2 similarities, it doesn't really affect me. At all, really. See, the events that take place that parallel A New Hope, while they're integral to the story, aren't necessarily what the entire movie rides on. They're plot devices that keep the story going. The real story is about our new, fresh characters. The map to Luke Skywalker is the MacGuffin of the movie, a plot device not necessarily important to the overall plot, but just there to get us from the beginning to the end, while we're exploring our new characters. In A New Hope, the entire movie rides on destroying the Death Star. Does the plot of The Force Awakens ride on getting the map to Leia? I don't really think so. The film could have ended without any Luke appearance, without them actually getting the map to Leia, and it would have been just as effective. They could have saved that entire chunk for Episode 8, and the experience of Episode 7 really would have been the same. Like I said before, I completely understand this gripe. Yeah, it's technically similar, but it's not a cut and paste. Two droids carrying two important pieces of intelligence in two different movies might seem like the same movie on the outside, but it's not something that bothers me. It's just background noise while we get to know Rey, Finn, and Poe. Someone is living an unfulfilled life, wanting more, dreaming of adventure, curious about their path. This person encounters a droid in the desert, discovers the droid is carrying something important. This person is a skilled pilot and is one with the Force. Who is this person? Is it Rey? Is it Luke Skywalker? This might not be fair. The similarities are obviously there, but there's more to each character than that description reveals. Yes, absolutely yes. Rey and Luke have a similar start. But hey, they're both relatable. A character who is out of their element. A character that has inner turmoil about what to do. A character who struggles with their place in the universe and makes a decision to leave a life behind and follow a new path. This is the formula of a relatable character. A formula that has been used by some of the best movies ever. A formula that works, especially in Star Wars. Luke lives with his aunt and uncle, and Rey lives by herself in the belly of a fallen AT-AT. The events that lead them to their new path are very similar, but the characters themselves are different enough for me to enjoy them separately without harping on those similarities. Like I said, is this a soft reboot? Many people think so. I would somewhat agree. Does it bother me? Not at all. Once the story is set up and we get to know Rey, the similarities slowly fade away. The characters on their own, without the initial circumstances, are very distinct from one another. They're both well written, relatable, engaging, fun, innocent, empathetic, and enjoyable to watch. That's really all I wanted, and it delivered. Looking at both characters as if I saw A New Hope and The Force Awakens back to back, without knowing anything else about the other films in the original trilogy, I would honestly be more excited to find out what happens to Rey rather than Luke. Her character is so well done. I could not wait to see what else was in store for her when the credits rolled. A desert planet is a desert planet is a desert planet. Tatooine and Jakku are desert planets. There's not much more to say about that. But no matter what they did, there would without a doubt be people complaining. If Rey lived on a snow-covered planet, the complaints would be about Hoth. If she lived on a lush and vibrant forest planet, the complaints would be about Endor. If she lived around water, we'd hear about Naboo. If she lived close to exploding volcanoes, screams of Mustafar would be heard. It's a lose-lose for some people. No matter where the story took place, people would complain. I think they handled Jakku very well. Look, they wanted to put a feeling of the original trilogy right in our very soul. What better way to do that than in a desert? That was their goal, bringing it back, and they did that. The difficult balance of nostalgia and the contemporary is hard to do without it toppling over. They successfully did it, in my opinion. Watching the movie, I never once thought about the comparison between Jakku and Tatooine. They're just desert planets. I really had no complaint. I'm sure it was there on a subconscious level, but it wasn't until I got home and read the gripes about it that I went, well yeah, I guess I can see why people are upset about that. But like I said earlier, they can't win with some people. No matter where certain events took place in the film, the complaints would always be there. It's a balancing act, and I think they stood steady on the high wire. If you watch my in-depth The Force Awakens review, you know that my biggest grievance with The Force Awakens was the similarity between the Death Star and Starkiller Base. Both are big planet-destroying space stations. Both have trench runs. Both get exploded. I still stand by that. I still wish they would have done something different. But like I said before, the events that are similar often aren't vital to what the story wants us to pay attention to. This was overall an introduction of characters. It wasn't about the destruction of a space station like in A New Hope. It's kind of a backdrop for what is happening in the foreground. I think this is the most valid complaint, the one that I understand more than the others. Hell, it's the third time in a Star Wars movie that we've had a big old ball in space that shoots beams to blow stuff up. If you look at The Force Awakens as a little reboot, a Star Wars movie for a new generation that has everything you loved about the original Star Wars, I think all the similarities and complaints kinda get put on mute. For me, it's all about the feeling, and it felt right. When we walked into Maz Kanata's bar, of course we all felt the callback to the Mos Eisley Cantina. I liked it. I didn't like Maz. I don't understand why in a place filled with amazing practical creatures and physical things, our main creature had to be CG. Was this a studio decision? I don't understand, but whatever. The bar was really neat. I didn't have a problem with this at all. Was it like Mos Eisley? Yeah, I guess. Did we have a character try to hire pilots to get him off of the planet? Yeah, so I guess it was a lot like Mos Eisley. I didn't even think about that until now. Weird. Oh, maybe it's more similar than I thought. Whatever. It doesn't change my enjoyment factor. The bar was a fun house of oddball things and anything goes creature designs. You know, the stuff that we all love. The weirdness, the uniqueness. The single shot tour that we take of the room was awesome. I mean, you'd expect there to be more than one cantina bar place in the galaxy, right? It's a big galaxy, right? People like to drink, right? That's how I took it. Was The Force Awakens too much like A New Hope? Some say yes, some say no. I would be blind if I said it wasn't similar. I would be lying. It is similar. But if you look at the movie as a little reboot, something to kickstart the franchise back to what we all love, setting up your characters, introducing the sides, giving us back the feel of Star Wars, then I think all the similarities are actually justified. Did they play it safe in places? Yeah. Was it fun? Hell yeah, it was fun. Did I see it 6 times in theaters and love it more with each viewing? Yep. The Force Awakens is a movie that many of us needed. It had callbacks, it had parallels, but at the same time it was a solid original sequel with amazing characters that kept you interested and wanting to find out more about their destiny. I completely understand why people feel the way they do about The Force Awakens. I get it. I don't sympathize because I don't see it all as a negative, but I get it. Hell, I read too deep into things sometimes. You all know that. Since the day they announced they were making a new Star Wars movie, I kept saying I just wanted it to be fun. That's what it's all about, having fun, and it definitely delivered in that department. I know I left out some other similar aspects, so toss those ones that I left out in the comment section below and start a dialogue about the comparisons I discussed in the video and the ones that I didn't mention. The Force Awakens is coming out on Blu-ray in, less than a month. I already have mine pre-ordered and I cannot wait to watch it on my couch. Thanks for watching, everyone. HelloGreedo, out.